Good afternoon and welcome to this special television broadcast where we are fortunate enough to have the head candidate from Mannin and Peters Political Emporium, Mannin Luthra, to talk to us about some of his policies. Here today we have Mannin from Mannin and Peters Political Emporium. How are you doing, Mannin?
I'm not too bad, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad. So we've got a couple of questions that we'd like to ask you regarding your party, Mannin and Peters Political Emporium. So firstly, what are your party's policies?
Okay, so Mannin and Peters Political Emporium has 5 policies. Our main policy is the idea of modernising school systems so as to give the 21st century Knox student the education that he deserves. Simply, we live in a society where we can see remnants of a wonderful time where education prospered, where Australia was an international force in terms of mathematics, reading levels and writing levels. Now, in 2015, we're seeing a drop in all 3 of these areas. What we need to do, and what our party aims to do, is give these students the proper facilities, the proper resources, and the proper opportunities that they need to increase their levels and to realise their potential.
So that was your party's main policy. Can you talk to us a bit about your 4 sub-policies?
Okay, so Mannin and Peters Political Emporium has 4 main sub-policies. The first is the introduction of a teacher evaluation system. Quite simply, what we want to do is give students a voice in the way their education is presented to them. They'll be giving written feedback to their teachers at the end of every year, analysing their teaching styles so that the teachers know what works best for the students. Our second policy is the implementation of what we like to call a day in the life of a Year 7 student. Quite simply, during term 3 of Year 6, every student will be given a peer support leader, a timetable, and several classes to get through throughout the day. I guess you could say that it's a second orientation day. It gives the Year 6 students a perfect idea of the school, gives them classes they need to get to, gives them an understanding of the buildings, an understanding of the teachers and the way classes work, and really prepares them for the senior school in the most effective way possible. Our third policy is the renaming of the business centre. Now, simply, no business studies take place in the actual business centre itself. What we aim to do as a political party is change this name through a school-wide vote, and the vote which will determine the name will be based upon the 4 key values of Knox Grammar School. The name, the final name, and the winning name will represent Knox, past, present, and future. And the final policy is the altering of school uniforms on 6 period days. Now, we see a lot of students just simply going to class in their sports uniform and getting in trouble for no good reason at all. There's no school assembly, there's no school worship. What's the harm in letting them wear what they want to wear? And we do understand that mufti might not be a good idea, but we can give them some leniency in sports uniform. Give them an educational learning facility in clothing that they're comfortable in, with resources and teachers that they can trust, and simply you will deliver the maximum learning potential for each and every student.
So what you're saying there is you want a school-wide standard, like a standard that can be accepted in every single year group through every single teacher.
That's exactly what we're getting at.
In the introductory speech where you introduce your party, Mannin and Peters Political Emporium, during the questions you received some criticism, so I'd just like to address them there. The first one that was brought up was Peter's involvement in the party. Can you respond to this for us, please?
Okay, so Peter Yu is a campaigner for our party, and quite simply, we put him on the logo because he's a likeable person. He's someone who everybody in the year group knows, who people can relate to. He's a happy-go-lucky, he's a kind soul. And quite simply, at the Political Emporium, we put my face and his face together to show that we appeal to everybody within the school.
The second question was, why do you think it's important that the renaming of the business centre occurs?
Okay, so we see Knox as a school that has innovation wrapped in tradition. We see that in the senior centre, we see that in our classrooms. Quite simply, a business studies centre with no business studies classes isn't innovation, and it's definitely not tradition. So why don't we capitalise on this loss and give the school an opportunity to rename the centre to something more appropriate, something that the public can see, something that the public can appreciate, and ensure that that building meets Knox's 21st century standards.
So although it is a subtle change, do you think it would have great effect on the school?
Oh yes, definitely.
The third thing that was brought up was that during your speech, you regarded yourself as Mannin Luthra, King of Kings. This seems fairly inconsistent with your party's values. Can you talk us through this?
Okay, so the way I see every student at Knox is that they are kings themselves. We go to every classroom from Year 7 to Year 12 and we see students with a range of skills, from sports to academics to music. Anything you can think of, there is someone at Knox who has achieved and excelled in that area. Everybody at the school is a king. What we want to do, what our party aims to do, is recognise that within all the students. And myself being the party leader, I want to go and personally see these skills being presented in the real world. I want to be the king that works for the other kings.
Thank you. What do you see for the future of Knox Grammar School?
So, in the future, we see Knox being an institution where students get the very best facilities, the very best opportunities, and the very best education. Because currently, Knox is doing that, but there's so much more that it can be involving itself with. At Manning and Peters Political Emporium, we want to see every student maximise their potential through the resources that they are.
Final question here this afternoon. What separates Manning and Peters Political Emporium from the rest?
So there are two answers to this. Firstly, we need to look at the actual makeup of the party, and secondly, we look at the policies. On this first idea of the actual members of the party, each and every one of them comes from a diverse background with various experiences which they have all contributed in one way or another to this party. There is no individual in Manning and Peters Political Emporium, from myself as the party leader to our archivist, who does not have a perfect experience of Knox and also a wide range of knowledge from the various activities they take part in. And on the second idea of our policies, we see a lot of parties implementing the same ideas. Better Wi-Fi speeds, mufti days, etc., etc., the list goes on. What we want to do is bring in something entirely new. We want to give students the opportunities that only our party can offer and only our party has offered. And in doing so, it's a one-of-a-kind situation where the students, as well as the staff and the school, will be benefiting.
So what I've heard from all of that is that Manning and Peters Political Emporium is unique in it, consistent with its values, with its peoples. Do you think this is a fair comment?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Well, that's all we have time for, but thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.